Mayo Maron Koi Koi. Hello and welcome, respected guests, bloods of my blood, to the Blood of the Podcast. I am your host, Kyle, better known as KW Dent.
Zeltadisi spustari ixostaur. Rohala! It's your girl, Lady Triple here.
Rohala, guys, welcome on into the show. We are back here today covering rounds 5 and 6 of A Song of Madness. Christina, we're just days away now from crowning a new champion. How are you feeling?
I guess it's one day away at this point. It's tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow,
It's
so then
Madness Eve.
It's Madness Eve, right? And then
Yeah.
Tuesday morning, the vote will be finalized. So yeah, today we are going to cover rounds 5 and 6 here. So that is just building up here to the finale. Let's go ahead and jump on in to our matchups here. So moving into our first one in the Big Shots bracket, this was a big matchup that we've kind of looked forward to and talked about already. But Daenerys Targaryen versus Arya Stark. This one was close, but finally, I was right about Arya falling. She had lower vote counts this year than I think we expected. Daenerys had very high vote counts. You did see in this matchup, both contestants, very high total votes. Daenerys 3280 to Arya's 2995, so she almost broke 3000 herself as well. So yeah, this was a big time matchup, and I don't want to say it was closer than I expected, because I did expect that it would be close. But Daenerys wins by 5.2% in this one. What did you think here, Christina?
Again, I was super excited. I was nervously seeing if Arya was going to make a comeback, and she didn't. So, I love Arya as a character. A lot of people in the comments were talking about it, and it's just the fact that she's won twice before, and I'm still salty over last year how she won over Davos. So I'm really glad that Daenerys was my champion and took her out. And of note, Arya Stark got about the same. She was 5 votes less than her Sansa match, so she did keep it pretty consistent, and that's kind of a trend we're seeing here. The votes have been pretty consistent, and I think this year with the changes to the bracket, where you're not having these kind of like culmination of matches, and they're kind of all over the board. The vote counts have been what's really been predictive here, because it seems to me that people are coming out consistently. There isn't huge drops in votes without some kind of reason.
Yeah, we did see that one day a couple weeks ago. That was really interesting. I didn't actually pull the numbers for, but it was a Tuesday, I think 2 weeks ago, where the vote counts across the board. It was kind of as coronavirus was really beginning to, shut down the country, and the vote counts were incredibly low for that day. So I think you can attribute it to that. But yeah, the vote counts have been very steady. Dany did win this one, which, I didn't know how it was going to go, to be honest. I have said I think Daenerys has been very strong this year, but you just don't know. Arya continued to, she beat Ned, she beat Sansa, and she was the two-time defending champion. So she did fall here. She's won twice in a row, so she still made it very far in a very tough bracket. So a good year for Arya Stark still, certainly. But Daenerys moves on to face Sandor. We are actually going to cover that matchup here in just a little bit, so we'll talk about it then when we get there, since we are covering 2 rounds here today. But I wanted to read our tweet regent here from the Benioff and Weiss account. Again, breakout account this year. I really enjoyed reading their tweets here during the tournament. Who tweeted, "We established early on that Arya Stark idolizes powerful dragon riding Targaryen women such as Visenya and Rhaenys. That was us setting the table for season 8, when Arya met the first and only female Targaryen dragon rider in over a century and never spoke with her, even once."
Oh, it hurts. It's like it hurts so good every time they tweet.
Do you read their tweets like as if you read their tweets as if it's like them talking behind the episode, right? Like with the camera on them. Definitely. That's for sure. Yeah.
I love how they each have their own personality and that they argue in their tweets. It's been really great, and I hope Benioff and Weiss sticks around and shows us more behind the scene things when the madness is over. I don't know how, but Benioff and Weiss, if you're out there, please keep tweeting.
Yeah, I hope they find a way. I really don't know. Like, I like playing this game with trying to figure out who people are, and I really don't know who Benioff and Weiss is. So I'm going to keep digging and see if I can figure it out, but I'm not sure. So, all
Yeah,
right.
Dent and at Dent sunglasses will surely solve the mystery.
Definitely, that's who Benioff and Weiss is. That same person for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Classical levels of humor. All right. Moving into our support staff matchup here in the final match of this bracket, we had Sandor and Maester Amon, two pretty big heavy hitters in the tournament. You know, Amon has always performed very well, and Sandor, big time character for sure in the support staff department. Sandor was able to pull this one out with a 6.8% margin of victory. So this was still, you know, like we were talking with Danny and Arya, 6.8%. This was relatively close between the two of them. I think it really could have gone either way. I guess I'm not surprised Sandor won. What did you expect from this one?
Again, it is really the year of the dragon where I was not expecting Maester Aemon to make it this far,
Right.
and he had a good showing against Sandor Clegane where I thought Sandor would have just, you know, burned him out of the water, but not
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I love Amon, and he does perform well early on in the tournament, usually, like we've talked about. But you know, this is deep. I mean, we're in the end game here. We're only going to have like one more episode covering this. There's only a couple more matchups left, and Amon's still here. So yeah, I do love Amon. I know I've mentioned it in the past, but one of the things that I think is the most interesting about him is that he's a character that bridges a lot of different stories. You know, he's present, alive during the Dunk and Egg novellas. You know, he met and worked with Bloodraven. So this is a character who has been involved and been around a lot of different things in the world for a long time, and who in the canon has only recently passed away. So I always find that interesting. I think if I had to pick one character who, you know, I was allowed to sit in a room and pick their brain, certainly Amon would be at the top of that list because he would have a lot that he could certainly tell you. And I was glad he made it this far in the tournament. Love the Hound. He does move on to vote off against Daenerys Targaryen, the Dragon Queen. Again, we'll cover that matchup in just a little bit here. Anything else to add on that matchup here?
No, but I'll take us through our tweet regent, which was Orcs of Winterfell at Winterfell Orcs, Winterfell Orcs, I will miss you until next year. Well, they come around every so often.
They pop in every once in a while. But
everyone just needs to keep tweeting. Let's keep Twitteros alive.
Yes.
All right, so Orcs of Winterfell, or Orcs Love Winterfell, says, we orcs have to make hard decisions nowadays. We lobbied against Sandor Clegane earlier because we supported his opponents, who he went on to ride down. We love Maester Aemon, but we orcs don't even know why he made it here. Melisandre looks on suspiciously. Vote Sandor. So the orcs aren't sure what's going on there. Maybe the orcs did something in the last. Maybe it was the orcs.
It was they were creating more orcs at Isengard. Is that where it is? Isengard that they make orcs in. Oh God, some Tolkien fan's gonna destroy me now.
Isengard or Moscow? They're one and the same these days.
Is Isengard a thing that's a thing in Lord of the Rings, right? That's the place.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know if it's Isengard. I mean, aren't the orcs just like in Mordor?
Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe but where are they don't they make orcs though at Isengard in one of the movies?
I think it sounds right to me. So
I'm gonna call it right. Tweet at me if I'm wrong. Somebody's that's definitely
Kyle.
Yeah, I should never
I'd
ask.
I'd love to look it up right now, but we don't have the time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Alrighty, always love talking about Tolkien. That's never gotten me in trouble before. Okay, moving into our players matchup here: Alysanne Targaryen and Bloodraven. I love this players pool of players contestants. So many interesting ones. And this one, I was wrong, but I thought Bloodraven was gonna have the advantage, and he didn't. Alysanne Targaryen took it, but again, you know, even if this was a little different this year, where some of the numbers were different, we're at the end of each bracket. So far, everyone we've looked at, very close, 5.2% here margin. So this was a very close matchup between Alysanne Targaryen and Bloodraven. You know, Alysanne certainly the best Targaryen, one of the best Targaryens throughout that entire line, and idolized for a lot of very good reasons. But I guess I was a little surprised. How about yourself?
Oh, I definitely was.
Yeah,
I mean, he lost by 143 votes almost, that's not a lot to lose by. And
yeah,
you're correct that these three matches that we went to, the exception is our next match, which we'll go over.
yeah.
These have been, within 10%, these last ones. So it's nice that I love the way that these brackets kind of culminated into these rounds.
Right.
These final four matchups have been really interesting to watch. And
Yeah.
it's been so interesting that we have two non-show characters to make it this far. So kudos to Matt and Scad for this idea, and I'm really glad to see how this played out. Even though I love Blood Raven, but it's okay. I'm
He
happy
made it
with
very, yeah.
this far. And I'm happy that a lot of Targaryens made it this far. I love that these changes just breathe new life into the bracket, so we're not talking about the same people over and over. And
Right.
yeah, just been excited about this.
Yeah, Alysanne, Targaryen makes to the final four. That's awesome. Like that's so
Yeah.
cool, so cool. And I talked about media last week, but I am really excited about that. We see it this year. Of course, the bracket change helped Alysanne, but Fire and Blood also another year with that being out, and people have really begun to read and reread and analyze that again. And I think that does help with these characters that you're seeing more of, and they're becoming more prevalent within the zeitgeist of the community. And that's kind of helping with it. But it's really interesting because we have more characters to talk about. So, yeah, I was happy with that. She is going to go on to face Brienne in the next round. That matchup is actually currently going on, as we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But our tweet regent here was from, actually, do you want to read Brian's tweet?
No, please you
Okay.
read it. Yeah, then oh wait, you can't see me. I forgot on this. Actually, I'll read it because you can't see my reaction to it.
Okay.
So Brian said, I think he was replying to Benioff and Weiss,
He
but
was, yeah.
either way, this was peak Brian, I'll say. Brian Edelon says, both crows and ravens have tail feathers that help them fly, called pinions. Ravens have 17, but crows only have 16. So the difference between a raven and a crow is just a matter of a pinion.
Brian and
Oh.
Aziz, baby.
I know. It was funny because over the summer I left Brian to go hang out to go travel to Ireland with Aziz for 3 weeks, and then I immediately get dumped back to Brian. So it was like this pun torch was passed in my life, and
Yeah.
it's been here ever since. But love you, sweetie. Love you, Brian. Um, moving on to the Warriors
Moving
match.
on.
Moving on to the Warriors match, we have Brienne of Tarth, who smushed Oberyn Martell once again with 67.8% of the vote to his 32.2 and a 35.6% win margin, which is huge this late in the game for Brienne. And she had almost 3,000 vote count, 2,200, or sorry, not even, that's not almost 3,000, but it's over 2,000, which is a big showing for 2,298 votes.
Yeah, Oberyn got smashed again, like you said. I kept being really surprised he made it this far, and yeah, it didn't stand much of a chance. Brienne's been, like we said, a major player in this tournament. 2,300 votes in this one, and in the final of her bracket to win by 35.6% is very large. Yeah, I expect big things from Brienne. Certainly, we talked about she moves on to Alysanne. I don't have a whole lot else to add here between Oberyn and them. I like Oberyn, but again, the guy's in a limited amount of pages. What he's there for is great, but I'm not voting him over Brienne, who I think sometimes there's kind of this like stigma that Brienne's point of view is boring, and I personally massively disagree with that. It's very like delicate the way it's put together, and sometimes it's extremely undelicate because it's very raw, and I find that very interesting, and so that's what I like about Brienne. But yeah, moving into our tweet regent here from Brian of Farce at Brian's Alive, who tweeted, "This is literally the biggest no-brainer, even bigger than Oberyn post-trial. Vote Sir Milady Brienne of Tarth to the end, or you're all dead to me, please." and, and this one got me because I was just reading it, and like when I finished reading even bigger than Oberyn post-trial, it like took a minute to hit me, and I was like, "Oh, whoa, you got me with that smashed brain joke." You've seen a lot of them, but yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that one's great. I love we can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never.
keep smashing it, guys.
Just
All
over and
right.
over again.
Yes.
All right. So moving in. So we're looking at our round 5 leaderboard. So after round 5, this is where things sort of stood here. Daenerys remains on top. She is very comfortable there on top of the bracket with her average vote total at 2,965. Unbelievable. As you can see, that's just about 1,000 average votes higher than the next highest contestant, Brienne of Tarth, at 1,969, followed by Sandor and Alysanne. So this, before we move into it, is our final 4 here. We've kind of talked about it, but yeah, what are your impression here of our final 4? Daenerys Targaryen, Brienne of Tarth, Sandor Clegane, and Alysanne Targaryen.
I just love that we haven't seen these names in a while, and
Yeah.
I was really sad last year. I think Brienne fell to Davos or something. Something happened. She
Yeah.
came against a force,
Yeah.
and I was really upset when she was out last year. So I'm so happy to see her probably make it to the championship with Dany. Like, I'm a winner either way. Actually, I love how someone, it was at B word, but somebody tweeted at me asking if I was okay because a bunch of people, like, I love that people are checking up on me, but I'm very happy, guys. I'm so happy that it's looking like a Brienne Dany face off in the final, and we will talk about that very much in depth in a few. But let's go on to the semifinals unless you have any thoughts on this.
No, yeah, I would just say it's been an interesting year, an interesting Final Four here. So let's go ahead and talk about them. Yeah, in our first semifinal matchup here, Sandor Clegane and Daenerys Targaryen. Tough matchup for Sandor. Sandor made it to the Final Four. I never would have expected that coming into the tournament, but again, he's up against the Dragon Queen here, who got 63% of the vote in this one, so she did win pretty handedly. That being said, I would say for Sandor to get 37% of the vote against Daenerys, it's actually still quite a lot, like for him to get even that much. But yeah, no surprise here that Daenerys wins this one, huh?
Yeah, and again, it's one of those things where it's like the consistent number of votes are coming in here, and actually this trends down for Dany this
It
match.
did, yeah.
Usually she's been riding at least since the first round. She's hit over 3,000, and this one she's at 23, a little over 2,300. So that's kind of interesting to me, but again, I'm pretty sure she had faced off, and now that the matches are coming, days closer, so
Yeah.
it's not like that you're getting Dany once a week, but and also people might have just saw she was winning and they're not going on their 10
Yeah.
accounts or whatever. But I did notice that she got a lot less votes this round, which actually drags her average vote number down to 2840 here. But her win margin does go up here. And I mean, it was still a healthy match with 3,714 votes. But I mean, this was like half of the Arya match.
Right.
So a little less interesting for a semifinal match. But I
I
was
think it's
happy.
competition. Yeah. I
Well, yeah,
think,
I mean,
yeah.
I think that's what happens with these new brackets. Like you have these 4 categories, which I've loved the differences and how the categories kind of go up. But that, I guess that's the question for will this new format repeat? Because I guess the semifinals have been a little less exciting.
Yeah.
I don't mean to knock it. In my opinion, I've been super happy with all the changes. So
Me
obviously,
too.
just a natural progression where you're having like, oh, the big shots versus the support staff. Even the strongest of the support staff isn't really doing too well against the big shot.
Right. Yeah. And maybe that's and I have no idea what Matt and Scott will do. Again, I've loved the changes. It's been so interesting getting to talk about Sandor here. But I wonder if maybe you scatter some of those big shots into different like categories and groupings. Um, I don't know, just to maybe like have I know they talked about, for instance, having like Davos in the support staff. But the issue there is then like, okay, well, that just means we don't even need to vote in the support staff one because Davos is going to win, right? But I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they do next year for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's so many different things. You could
yeah,
do region, you could do. I mean, who
region.
knows? Region, old gods, real lore. I mean, who knows,
I want a
right?
villains bracket. I really do want a villains bracket. I feel like that'd be really
Yeah,
fun. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
We'll see here. For our tweet regent on this one, I don't think I had anything else to add to that one. No, yeah, that's fine. So for our tweet regent here on this one, this was from Sam at Amy Gatehouse, who's been tweeting every day auto-corrected matchups, which have been really funny. I don't think we've pulled one yet. So they tweeted their auto-corrected matchup for this one, saying Daenerys Strombolis Targaryen versus Sandwich Gravy Digest Clegane. And my question is, where do I get a subscription to Gravy Digest? That sounds phenomenal.
This just makes me so hungry.
I know.
Where's
Strom
my chickens?
Stromboli. Yeah.
Where's my chickens, Dent?
You you get the great Gravy Digest comes with the chicken. Actually, this sounds really great. I'm getting very hungry now.
Oh,
Okay. Moving
digest.
in. Our
That's
other
such a Midwestern. That's such a Midwestern magazine.
yeah, only in Great Lakes states does it go out to for sure. Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Wisconsin. That's
Yep.
it.
Oh,
Maybe
don't you
parts of
know?
Illinois.
Don't you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, don't you know?
Oh yeah,
That
I'm
that
gonna
was
squeeze
really
right
far
past
north.
you there real quick.
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm gonna squeeze right past you real quick
Whoop,
to the
whoop.
semifinals matchup. This one's currently going on. I pulled the data at 2:30, so excuse the live data here. But we have Brienne of Tarth and Alysanne Targaryen right, or sorry, excuse me, as of 2:30. We're
Yeah.
living in the past here. There was 1,827 votes. Brienne had a very healthy lead at 67.9 and Alysanne at 32.1, which was really interesting when I was doing this PowerPoint slide. Was I had to change a 0.1% from Oberyn's. So she's doing very well. She's doing about similar to Oberyn, but all the votes aren't in yet by any means. But I think it's safe to say Brienne's going to take this one. What
Yeah,
about you?
I think it's very safe at this point. Predicting the amount of votes. So our other semifinal matchup here got 3,700 votes between Danny and Sandor, which means for Elisane to come back in this one, she would need to get just about every remaining vote if they have similar vote totals in that one. It's not very likely she's going to come back against Brienne in this one. So we're pretty much, God, I hope I don't jinx something absolutely crazy happening here. But I mean, we're pretty much calling it here that we're going to be seeing a Brienne versus Dany final. I'm pretty comfortable saying that. Brienne, I mean, again, Alysanne, super happy she's this far. But Brienne of Tarth is, God, I mean, what was the only good, in my opinion, episode of season 8, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, right? Brienne of Tarth. Fucking
Sir
legend.
Brienne, Sir
Sir
Brienne.
Brienne.
I wanted to put it on everything, but honestly, it was the text space, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
got to look nice.
there's design versus heart, and sometimes you just got to give in to the design. So I don't have any stats for Brienne's final, but I do have a tweet regent from this matchup.
Read it.
If you're done, okay.
Yep,
Yes, we have
yep.
tweet regent. Satan Stan at Azora High Five says, you guys, what am I supposed to do? I've never stand to a woman more. Help me, dear God. Which someone check in on Satan
Check in
Stan.
on Satan Stan.
Check their pulse. We need their pulse. But yes, thank you. This is what the madness is supposed to feel like here.
Exactly. Woe, misery, all that wonderful stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Now that we pretty much know,
Got our final.
we have our final two, Daenerys and Brienne. We kind of wanted to do something a little special and go through our champions journey and kind of think about what might happen in the final. So let's start with Daenerys.
I like her first one here, so this is interesting. That her first matchup was Sir Duncan the Tall. So she's already beaten Brienne's ancestor, Sir Duncan the Tall. I'll run through these stats here too. She got 2,006 votes in that one with a 24.2% margin. Huge win against Dunk, who Dunk's a big time player. Don't get anything wrong here. Dunk performs very well in this tournament, and Dany beat him very easily. She then moved on against Jon Snow, which had all kinds of drama written all over that matchup there, preceding the events of season 8, certainly. But in that one, she got 3,414 votes, won by 7.2%. So relatively close, but I would say against Jon, quite a good margin of victory against somebody like Jon Snow. She then moved on against Jaime Lannister, a former champion. She got 3,161 votes in that matchup. Close, 3.8% margin in that one. She then faced Arya Stark, the two-time champion, which means here, Dany, after beating Arya Stark, has defeated every other winner of A Song of Madness up to this point.
Yeah, didn't Jon win once?
Jon won year 2. Yeah. So she beat Jaime, who won year 1, Jon, who won year 2, and then Arya, who's won the past 2 years. So Dany is just out slaying champions. 3,200 votes in that one. Again, pretty close, 5.2%, before beating Sandor Clegane in the final with, as you said, lower vote total, 2,340 in that one. So Dany comes into this matchup. She's got all the momentum. I think this is her year, but do you want to go over Brienne?
Yes. Yeah, I do want to say I think this is Dany's year. Just these vote totals are very, very high. So I feel like the Targaryen army is going to be out tomorrow. But I will go over Sir Brienne of Tarth. All right. So she's had a very interesting year. Let's just get started. So round 2, she faced Syrio Farrell, who had a... Who did Syrio beat? He had a good... Oh, Khal Drogo.
Yes, Khal Drogo.
Okay, yeah. So she beat Syrio, who's a pretty good fan favorite, by 58.6% with 1,592 votes. Round 3, she faced Loras Tyrell, and she had 2,153 votes with a 76.4% win margin. Round 4, she faced Robb Stark. She had 1,835 votes and beat him by 32.8%. Round 5, she faced Oberyn Martell. She had 2,298 votes with 35.6% of the vote. And for the semifinals, she faced Alysanne Targaryen. And as of 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she had 1,241 votes and 35.8%. So this is kind of a battle of... Brienne's consistently been performing well, but Dany has undeniably had the harder bracket, and she has more votes, consistently. But Brienne hasn't even hit over the 3,000 mark yet. She hasn't even hit 2,500. So, Brienne's going to need a lot of momentum to beat Daenerys, I would say.
She is. I think she's going to need a lot. Brienne... here's the thing.
She's definitely the underdog.
She's the underdog, but here's the thing. I do think Daenerys is going to win. That's definitely my pick, which it sounds like it's yours as well. Would you say that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say this. Daenerys Targaryen is a character that is potentially problematic, right? There's a lot of drama that surrounds that, and not just like in universe, but I more mean like meta, like on Twitter. There's a lot of stuff surrounding Dany and Dany stans and all that kind of shit that I hope doesn't boil over in this matchup. So that is the only thing where, if we then do talk in universe, Brienne of Tarth has never done anything wrong in her entire life, right? She's the perfect knight. That's literally what her point in the story is supposed to be. So I could see that argument, right? That Brienne's never done anything wrong, even if Dany's an incredibly interesting character, one of the most interesting characters in literature. The reason she's interesting is because there's a lot of like moral gray area to dark area that exists within her character. I don't know if that's going to sway the vote at all. I do think she's going to win, but I think that's the argument for how Brienne can potentially hold up in this matchup. But yeah, I think we're going to see Daenerys Targaryen with a really impressive year come out and win this, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be happy with either.
Me too. Me too.
I'm not going to be upset either way, and I'm so happy that we've gotten here. I'm happy that the Starks are gone. I'm sorry. Sorry. Not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Y'all had a lot to be happy about, all right?
Right. And that's the thing
Targ
too.
stands. I'm sorry, I'm a Targ stan. The Targ stands, such as myself, just really want. And I love Brienne too. I've always loved Brienne. So, no, I'm just really happy that these two amazing female characters, made it here, and may the best stands win. I mean, who are you personally going to be voting for tomorrow?
I'm gonna vote for Daenerys.
Okay, I think I am. I want to vote for Brienne too. It sucks.
I would love to vote for Brienne because when I rank my characters, I usually rank Brienne within my top 3. So don't get me wrong here. I mean, I love Brienne. I love her chap story for Jaime and on a meta level for knighthood with Sandor Clegane, all those other things. But Daenerys Targaryen has had such a difficult year in the meta of the fandom with the ending of the television show and the way that kind of came about. And I just think she's so much more interesting than what we got in the ending of the show. And I think that's what we're going to get in the books. And so it's a nice little victory, is the way I feel, that she gets to come here, whether she wins or not, but that she's had such a year of support from people, making it this far. And I think we're going to be crowning her champion here. So as much as I love Brienne, and a part of me still wants to vote for her, I'm going to go for Dany this year. And we'll see what happens. We'll see. Anything else to?
Yeah, cheers to that, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to the year of the dragon, baby.
Cheers. I gotta drink to it. Cheers. It's bad luck to not drink to it. Cheers.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Cheers. Woo! Woo! All right.
And then
let's go, Dany.
Let's go, Dany, guys. And then that'll be
free
it.
Free us from this madness.
The curse is over. And then we are going to be back for one wrap-up episode. We're still trying to exactly figure out what, we're going to talk about the matchup, of course, and we'll kind of talk about the year as a whole and maybe pull some tweets. And we'll talk about exactly what we're going to do, whether we have Matt and Scad back on or not. We'll kind of figure schedules out still. But yeah, other than that, we'll be back to kind of wrap up the madness sometime probably early to midweek this week. And then we'll be good to go. Anything else to add there, Triple?
Vote Dany, y'all. Let's get our girl in. She's the only one that can save us.
I'm gonna say vote Dany too. We'll see what happens. If you vote Brienne, I still love you. Love Brienne. Yep. But yeah, guys, until next time, thank you so much for joining us. We've had a lot of fun going through this tournament. We will see you one more time. But guys, until next time, have a good one.